The sun had barely risen over Heathrow Airport on that fateful morning of April 8, 1968, when the sleek silver fuselage of BOAC Flight 712 gleamed under the soft light, poised for departure. Inside, a hush of anticipation permeated the cabin. Passengers, a mix of business travelers, holidaymakers, and families, stowed their belongings and exchanged polite smiles with the flight attendants. The air was calm, almost serene, belying the chaos that would soon unfold high above the English countryside. The aircraft, a state-of-the-art Boeing 707, was a marvel of aviation engineering, a testament to human ingenuity. Its engines, 4 massive turbojets, hummed softly as ground crews completed their final inspections, checking gauges, fuel lines, and engine housings with meticulous care. Captain Leslie "Les" Davis, a seasoned pilot with decades of experience, had flown hundreds of flights, yet he approached every takeoff with the same respect, the same vigilance. His co-pilot, First Officer Clive Campbell, was younger but equally competent, attentive to every instrument, every nuance in the cockpit. As the passengers settled into their seats, the cabin crew performed their final checks, walking down the aisles with practiced efficiency, ensuring seat belts were fastened, luggage compartments secured, and emergency equipment in place. No one could have foreseen the catastrophe that would unfold within mere minutes after takeoff. As the Boeing 707 taxied onto the runway, the engines roared to life, their mechanical symphony echoing across the tarmac. Flight attendants, trained to project calm reassurance, moved among the passengers, offering last-minute guidance. The aircraft surged forward, picking up speed, and with a gentle lift, the wheels left the ground. It was a routine ascent, smooth and confident, with the engines performing within all expected parameters. But then came the subtle, almost imperceptible sign of trouble. Engine No. 2, the left inboard engine, began to emit a faint, irregular vibration. To the trained eye and ear of Captain Davis, it was unusual, slight, yet significant. He adjusted the throttle, monitoring the instruments, but the readings suggested everything was nominal. Moments later, the vibration escalated, accompanied by a faint wisp of smoke curling from the nacelle. The cabin remained oblivious, passengers chatting softly, some glancing out at the clouds, unaware of the brewing peril. In the cockpit, tension began to mount. Captain Davis felt a knot in his stomach, a professional instinct alerting him that something was gravely wrong. Smoke thickened around the engine, and the vibration intensified, a deep mechanical tremor that seemed to resonate through the fuselage. The cockpit alarms sounded, a piercing reminder that the aircraft was no longer in routine flight. Davis's mind raced, running through checklists, emergency protocols, and contingencies. The engine was failing, possibly on fire. Engine 2, fire. Davis barked into the intercom, his voice calm but urgent. The flight attendants, trained for emergencies, immediately braced for instructions. The aircraft shuddered as the fire alarm in the cockpit blared. Campbell confirmed the readings. Temperature and pressure indicators spiked, confirming what Davis feared. The fire had ignited within the engine cowling, a terrifying and unpredictable force. The next minutes were a blur of precise, professional action. Captain Davis reduced thrust, initiated emergency procedures, and radioed Heathrow Tower with the grim report. The controllers on the ground, trained for emergencies but still shocked at the unfolding drama, scrambled fire trucks and emergency crews. Inside the cabin, a tense silence replaced the usual murmur of conversation. Passengers began to notice a faint smell of smoke, a whisper of panic stirring among them. Flight attendants moved swiftly, instructing everyone to fasten seat belts and prepare for potential evacuation. The fire, fueled by jet fuel and the engine's own heat, spread with alarming speed. Flames licked the metal casing, and black smoke poured from the engine nacelle, drifting along the fuselage. The Boeing 707, a machine designed for speed and safety, became a fragile vessel of human lives, its fate hinging on the crew's skill, courage, and composure. Davis knew that an immediate decision was required. An engine fire of this magnitude could compromise structural integrity. The aircraft's balance, its aerodynamics, even the possibility of a catastrophic explosion, loomed over every choice he made. Descending over the English countryside, Davis aimed to maintain control while seeking the nearest point for emergency landing. The cockpit was a cacophony of alarms, smoke, and the deep, resonant roar of the remaining engines compensating for the failing one. He coordinated with Campbell, distributing tasks, checking systems, and calculating the minimum safe altitude for maneuvering. Every second counted. The cabin crew, led by Chief Stewardess Barbara Jane Harrison, exemplified professionalism under unimaginable pressure. Smoke began seeping into the cabin as the aircraft climbed into denser layers of the atmosphere. Harrison moved with quiet authority, instructing passengers to adopt safety positions, calming frightened children, and ensuring that everyone understood the gravity of the situation without inducing panic. Her presence was a stabilizing force, a human anchor in the mechanical chaos that surrounded them. As the Boeing 707 approached the critical altitude where the fire threatened to compromise wing integrity, Davis and Campbell made a harrowing choice: an emergency return to Heathrow. The descent was controlled, precise, every maneuver calculated to preserve the aircraft's stability while reducing speed safely. The passengers clung to their seats, some praying, some crying, as the engine screamed and the fuselage vibrated with the stress of flight under fire. Below them, the airport sprawled, emergency vehicles racing along the tarmac, fire crews ready to intercept. Davis's focus was absolute, a combination of technical mastery and instinctual courage. The burning engine's heat warped panels, melted components, and emitted acrid smoke that threatened to infiltrate the cabin entirely. The aircraft's aluminum skin, designed to withstand high altitudes and temperature differentials, now faced an elemental assault of fire and stress. Harrison, sensing the imminent danger, began preparing for the ultimate act of bravery. Passengers were instructed to don oxygen masks if necessary, secure themselves, and remain calm. She checked every seat, every aisle, ensuring that no one was left vulnerable to the creeping threat of smoke inhalation. Her mind, trained for emergencies but fueled by instinct and compassion, raced faster than any instrument could measure. She understood the stakes. If the fire reached critical systems, there would be no second chance. Minutes stretched into an eternity as the aircraft approached the runway. Davis executed a textbook emergency approach, lowering landing gear, adjusting flaps, and calculating descent trajectory with the precision of a surgeon. The fire raged unchecked on the wing, a terrifying reminder of the vulnerability of human life against mechanical failure. Black smoke poured from the engine, streaking the sky, a stark signal of impending disaster. Then, in a moment that would define heroism, Harrison made a choice that transcended procedure. She moved towards passengers nearest the fire's influence, instructing them to stay low, to cover mouths, and preparing to sacrifice herself if necessary to ensure their survival. Her courage was palpable, an invisible force that held the aircraft's human element together, even as metal and fire conspired against them. The Boeing 707 touched down with a violent shudder, tires screeching against asphalt. Davis maintained control, steering the aircraft toward the prepared emergency area where fire crews awaited. Flames erupted from the engine nacelle, now fully engulfed, but the crew's coordinated efforts ensured that every passenger evacuated safely. Harrison, exposed to the fire as she assisted the last passengers, paid the ultimate price, her bravery immortalized in the lives she saved. The aftermath of BOAC Flight 712 was both tragic and inspiring. The investigation would later confirm that the engine failure was sudden and catastrophic, leaving the crew with mere minutes to act. Yet through skill, determination, and unparalleled courage, Captain Davis, First Officer Campbell, and the cabin crew turned a potential disaster into a testament of human resilience. The story of Barbara Jane Harrison became emblematic of ultimate sacrifice, a reminder that heroism often manifests in the most ordinary human acts under extraordinary circumstances. In the weeks and months that followed, the tale of Flight 712 resonated around the world. Aviation professionals studied the event, refining safety protocols, engine inspections, and emergency training. Families of the passengers and crew grappled with grief and gratitude, forever bonded by an incident that had threatened everything and spared so much. And among the annals of aviation history, the story of BOAC Flight 712 remained, a somber yet inspiring testament to courage, professionalism, and the human capacity to confront unimaginable danger with dignity and selflessness. It began as an ordinary morning flight, engines humming, passengers unaware of what was to come. It ended as a narrative of heroism, sacrifice, and the stark, fragile balance between life and the unforgiving skies. The engine fire, which could have been the end, became the stage for Bravery, a tragic yet uplifting chronicle of what it means to face fear head on, and to act with unwavering resolve when every second counts.